Hello guys and welcome to another video. So in this video I want to compare a regular prop firm, let's say FTMO, to a futures prop firm such as MyFundedFutures, okay? So I want to see the main differences between the conditions for the challenge part and for the funded stage as well. We know that futures prop firms have been rising in popularity in the last couple of months. There are a couple of reasons for this. So first we have the US actually banning prop firms such as FTMO because prop firms such as FTMO allowed the US traders to trade some instruments that are not regulated in the US. So if you're a US trader, you do need to stick to a futures prop firm. But if you're, let's say, from Europe or anywhere else in the world, well, then you have a choice between a regular prop firm such as FTMO. FTMO is the top dog, the oldest one, the biggest one, the prop firm with the most payouts. So they have like $200 million plus in payouts. Or you can choose a futures prop firm because maybe the terms and conditions are better, or maybe it is a more safer option. So that is exactly what I will be taking a look at in this video. So let's get into it. FTMO, you have two-step challenge. You have the step 1, you have the step 2, which is the verification, and then step 3, you're a funded trader. So before we go into it, all of these prop firms operate with the same business model. The profitable traders get paid out from the failed challenge fees. The number one revenue source for a prop firm, both a regular prop firm such as FTMO and a futures prop firm, the number one revenue source is of course the failed challenge fees. So when you're funded, when you reach the funded stage, they're not actually taking your trades, but you get paid out from the failed challenge fees directly from the pocket of the prop firm owners. Okay, now we got that out of the way. Let's continue. So you have the trading period. It's gonna be unlimited time, okay? All three steps are unlimited time. Minimum trading days, 4 days, and then it's gonna be 0. Maximum daily loss is gonna be 5% for step 1, 5% for step 2, and 5% for the funded stage as well. Maximum loss is gonna be 10%. Okay, 10% for step 1, 10% for step 2, and 10% for the funded stage. Profit target, 10% for step 1, 5% for step 2, and you don't have a profit target once you are a funded trader. Okay, I have picked the US dollar as the currency and the $100,000 account just for a comparison. So both for the MyFundedFutures 100K account and the FTMO 100K account as well. The refundable fee. Okay, the refundable fee, it is 540 euros. It is a one-time fee as well. And you do get a refund. So the fee is reimbursed to you with the first profit split when you become an FTMO trader, okay? So when you get to the funded stage and you manage to get to the first profit split, so you make a little profit on the funded account, well, then you do get the refundable fee back. So how much money is 540 euros in dollars? Let's see. It's gonna be $588, okay? So that is how much is the price, $588, just for comparison between MyFundedFutures. Okay, so those are the terms and conditions. So basically, two-step challenge, 10K or 10% max drawdown, and the profit target is combined gonna be 15%. 10% for step 1, 5% for step 2. And the drawdown is not trailing, okay? The drawdown is not trailing. There is a swing account option with which you can trade through news, and it gives you 1 to 30 leverage. And I do currently have a FTMO challenge running with that swing account option. So I can basically trade through any news, both on the challenge account and on the funded stage as well. This is this section. So can I trade news? So after you pass the evaluation process, and unless your account type is swing, you should be careful when trading during news releases. But if you have a swing account with 1 to 30 leverage, then you don't have to worry about the news. So those are the kind of the terms and conditions for passing a challenge and trading the funded stage as well. Let's go to MyFundedFutures. So this is the website, 100K account. You have two account options. You have the starter account and the expert account as well. I do think most people will choose the starter account option. It just has better terms. Okay, so there is an activation fee here. There is no activation fee, but here the profit target is a bit higher. Okay. And the initial price is more expensive than the starter account. So I will be analyzing the starter account, which is running a discount. So it's usually $200 per month. Now it's $140 per month. And that is one of the main differences. With FTMO, you pay a one-time refundable fee. But with a futures prop firm, most of them are the same. Most of them have the same sort of conditions for the profit target and for the max drawdown. and almost all of them have a monthly fee like this. So every single month that you have the challenge running, you're paying $140 per month. And if you need a couple of months to pass this sort of a challenge, let's say 6 months, because it can happen, it is actually pretty normal that it takes you a couple of months to pass, well, then you will be paying a lot more money than, let's say, FTMO. We're gonna do some calculations a bit later, but first let's go with the terms. Profit target, 6%. Max position, 10 contracts. Okay, daily loss limit, none. Trailing max drawdown is 3%. So you have a trailing max drawdown. So that is not really good. FTMO has a better drawdown calculation. I don't like prop firms that use the trailing max drawdown, to be honest. So drawdown mode is end of day. Your minimum account balance will move up at the end of day if your account equity increases throughout the day. And you have the activation fee as well. So you have a one-time fee. When you start the challenge, you need to pay $149 for the activation fee. The reset fee is $100. So I think if you fail the challenge, then you can reactivate or reset the challenge for $100 instead of paying the activation fee all over again. Then you have the scaling rule, the micro scaling, the consistency rule. I'm not that interested in these three characteristics right here. I'm more interested in comparing these numbers. So the main difference I can see right away is this is a one-step challenge and FTMO is actually a two-step challenge. So that's gonna be your first difference. Now let's take a look at the profit targets. Okay, so 6% here, you have 10% for step 1 and 5% for step 2. So it's gonna be 15% combined. But then you have the max drawdown, only 3% for a futures prop firm. And yeah, most of them are like this. Look, when you compare the competition of MyFundedFutures, the trailing max drawdown, it's gonna be 3 to 4% for every futures prop firm. So 3% here, but 10% for the step 1 and 10% for the step 2 as well. So that's much better, I would say. Why is it better? Well, because at Zentum Trading, we recommend you risk 1% for step 1, 1% for step 2, and 0.5% for the funded stage. Then you get 10 losses on step 1, 10 losses on step 2, and you get 20 losses on the funded stage before you actually blow the account. And with those parameters, you need to hit 10R for step 1 and you need to hit 5R for step 2. So actually you need to hit 15R to get to the profit target. Let's apply those same rules for MyFundedFutures. So if you have only a 3% trailing max drawdown, well then you need to give yourself at least 10 losses before you blow it. So that's gonna be 0.3% per trade. You're gonna be risking 0.3% per trade. To hit the profit target of 6%, let's divide 6 by 0.3, okay, you need to hit 20R to actually reach the profit target. So compare 15R here to 20R for a futures prop firm. So that means FTMO is better. And another thing that is even more important, when you reach the funded stage, you still have that same maximum loss. Okay, so here it's gonna be 10%. Here it is still gonna be 3%. And with our risk management recommendation, we recommend risking 0.5% on the funded stage to give yourself at least 20 losses before you blow the account. Okay, at least 20 losses for the funded stage before you blow the actual account. Let's apply that same methodology for a futures prop firm. Okay, so you have the 3% divided by 20. You're gonna be risking 0.15% per trade. Okay, compare that to FTMO where you're risking 0.5% per trade and your profit potential with FTMO is much greater. Okay, because you're just risking more for every single trade. So in the end, you can make much more money, much more profits with FTMO because your maximum loss stays at 10% for the funded stage, while a futures prop firm, your maximum loss can be only 3%. So that is the main reason why I think FTMO and Fund Engineer and the 5%ers and Apex Funding has much better terms than any futures prop firm. Exactly because of that funded stage where you have a much bigger maximum loss. Okay, one more thing we need to take into account. How much does it actually cost to buy an FTMO challenge and how much does it actually cost to buy and pass a MyFundedFutures challenge? Okay, so let's say it takes you 6 months to pass a challenge, which can happen. You can have some slow market conditions. It may take you some time to actually get the 10% for step 1 and then 5% for step 2. It is completely normal that it takes you a couple of months to pass a challenge, and with FTMO it shouldn't be such an issue because your trading period is unlimited. Okay, so your trading period is unlimited, but with a futures futures prop firm, the more time it actually takes you to pass the challenge, the more money you are paying, because you're paying $140 with the discount every single month. So let's calculate it. With FTMO, you're paying a single refundable fee. It's gonna be $588 for a 100K account. But with a futures prop firm, let's say it takes you 6 months to pass. Okay, let's say it takes you 6 months to pass. First, you're paying the activation fee. So it's gonna be 149 plus 140, okay? 140 times 6. It is gonna cost you $989 to pass this challenge in 6 months. And as I said, 6 months can be a realistic time frame for you to actually pass a funded challenge. Let's say it actually takes you 12 months, okay? Let's say it actually takes you 1 year to pass a challenge. With FTMO, it's still gonna be the same thing. It's gonna be 540 euros, which is $588. But with a futures prop firm, you have, again, activation fee, 149 plus 140, 140 times 12. It's gonna be $1,829 for you to pass this challenge in a matter of 12 months. And I would say that is a huge difference. So you can almost buy 4 FTMO accounts, okay? Almost 4 FTMO accounts for the price of 1 futures account if it takes you 12 months to actually pass it. So again, FTMO wins in this situation as well. Not just FTMO, but any regular prop firm. I said 5%ers, Fund Engineer, Apex Funding, all of them have much better terms and much better pricing than a futures prop firm. Now this may change. There is some talk that the structure and the parameters are gonna be switched around because these ones are not that sustainable. But for now, for the challenge that I have, these are the parameters that I'm looking at. And if I need to pick between FTMO and a futures prop firm, I'm definitely still gonna go with FTMO. Also, one more thing to discuss. With FTMO, you can actually trade news, as I said. Okay, if you have the swing account, you can trade through news. But with MyFundedFutures, there is the news trading policy. And this is only when you have the funded account, okay? So only when you have the funded account, you actually cannot trade through news. Okay, you have no position or orders, including limit orders, can be opened 2 minutes before and after the release. You have the tier 1 news, and it's gonna be FOMC meetings, FOMC minutes, employment report, CPI, and other high impact news. Okay, so that is not for the evaluations. Again, does not apply during evaluations, but when you have the funded account, you cannot trade during tier 1 news. FTMO, you can actually trade through tier 1 news. I have seen some futures prop firms that do allow trading through news. So yeah, that's not really a big difference, but these guys are top guys in the industry. Okay, FTMO is the top guy for a regular prop firm. MyFundedFutures, I would say, is the top dog when it comes to a futures prop firm. One more difference as well is the instruments you can actually trade. I am a Forex trader, so I like to have a lot of currencies at my disposal that I can actually trade. With FTMO, you can basically trade anything under the sun. You have stocks, you have currency pairs, you have stock indices, commodities, cryptocurrencies, so you basically have absolutely everything. But with a futures prop firm, you're kind of limited. Okay, so you do have equities, you have the S&P 500, let's say, you have the interest futures, currency futures, agricultural futures, energy, metals, micro, cryptocurrencies. But look at this, when I click on currency futures, this is not MyFundedFutures. This is a different futures prop firm, but most of them offer the same sort of instruments. So when I click currency futures, you only have a couple of them. You have the Australian dollar, British pound, Canadian dollar, euro, Japanese yen, Swiss franc, and the New Zealand dollar. So there are some currencies actually missing from this list. FTMO has a much better range of currencies that they offer, especially if you're solely focusing on Forex. I would say FTMO is a better bet because you do have much more currencies at your disposal. With a futures prop firm, you only have a couple of currencies that you can trade. And again, I'm not sure about the spreads. I'm not sure about the liquidity that you get when trading currencies with a futures prop firm. I know FTMO has really good spreads for most major currencies. The spreads are really good. The liquidity is really good as well. For a futures prop firm, I don't really have experience, so I cannot talk on the subject, but I would expect for the spreads to be a little bit worse and for the liquidity to be a little bit worse as well. So even when you're looking at instruments that you can trade, FTMO is still the clear winner. And now we come to the final question, and I would say a really important question as well. Which one is safer, a regular prop firm or a futures prop firm? My answer is it's all about the actual company behind the prop firm, okay? FTMO is the top dog. They have the most experience. They are the oldest prop firm. They have the most payouts given to traders. So I do think they are the safest one in the industry. MyFundedFutures, from what I have seen, I have not seen a lot, so I don't have much experience with it, but I do think that they are pretty safe and that they actually pay out their traders. Is there an actual guarantee that you will get a payout if you go with a futures prop firm? No, there is not, okay? The business model is the same. The winning traders get paid out from the failed challenge fees. So it is not in a prop firm's best interest for you to make an actual profit on the funded account. Again, you're actually trading demo accounts, so it's all fake money. When you win money, the prop firm owners need to pay you out right from their own pocket. In the end, it all comes down to how fair the company is and are they actually paying out their traders. It doesn't really matter, is it a regular prop firm, is it a futures prop firm? What actually matters, the people behind the company, the CEO who is running the company, are they actually paying out their traders? Because there is definitely going to be a lot of scammy prop firms in, let's say, the regular prop firm model, and there's going to be some scammy prop firms in the futures prop firm model as well. So if you're picking a prop firm solely based on the reliability aspect, well, then you need to look at the actual company and not is the prop firm operating as a regular prop firm or a futures prop firm. I would definitely say that futures prop firms are not much safer than regular prop firms. Again, the business model is absolutely the same. What I can see, a futures prop firm business model is much harder to pass. So they have much less winning traders. So there is naturally going to be less drama because they need to pay out less traders, okay? And these terms and the pricing is definitely much worse than, let's say, FTMO. An interesting thing that happened to me is a futures prop firm actually reached out recently saying that they want to work with me. They wanted me to make a review of their prop firm and the accounts that they offer. And I said, okay, look, give me a 100K account. I'll trade on it, I'll try to pass it, and I'll make a review of your company. And they said, well, look, we can give you a 100K account, but only for demo purposes. So if you actually pass the account, you cannot make any money on the fund account. It's basically all for a video. They don't want me actually making money on the funded account. And that right there tells you everything you need to know about a futures prop firm. The business model is absolutely the same. They really don't want you to make the money on the fund account. You get paid out from the failed challenge fees. And yes, if you are from the US, well, then you need to stick to a futures prop firm because those are still allowed in the United States. And I mean, it's not that bad. It's still an opportunity for you to make a lot of money if you are consistently profitable and if you know what you're doing in trading. So which one would I personally pick? I do live in Europe, so I would definitely pick a regular prop firm such as FTMO, let's say the 5%ers, FTMO, Fund Engineer, Apex Funding, so the top guys in this industry. I would definitely not go with a futures prop firm. The only reason why I might consider going with a futures prop firm is to make videos for YouTube, to have some interesting content. And also I think my viewers from the United States would be much more interested if I was taking, let's say, a futures challenge instead of a FTMO challenge, because they are banned from FTMO, but they can still purchase a futures challenge. So in the future, I might get a futures challenge account just to test it out, to make some content for my YouTube channel, to see how the spreads are, the liquidity is with trading currencies on a futures prop firm. And that would be it for this video, guys. If you want to learn how to trade, if you want to learn how to get funded, get some payouts from a prop firm like FTMO, well, then we have Zentum Trading, the best trading community out there. The link is going to be in the description. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, FTMO is still the top dog, still the best, still the most reliable. So if you're wondering which prop firm to go with, I would say it is still gonna be FTMO. Hope you guys have a great rest of the week, and I will see you guys in the next video.